guys, this is O.P.O.V podcast episode 32. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
So, how was everybody's week?
Stressful.
Terrible.
Mine was okay.
Okay, cool.
Good.
So what's going on? What's on the docket for today?
Well, I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about anything that happened during the week or that? You guys want to just jump right into the topic?
We could jump right into the topics, I guess.
All right. So, I guess the first thing that we wanted to get out the way was that Super Bowl picks the well, I'm not going to blame Jay-Z for it, but the NFL for the halftime show in Florida, they chose Jennifer Lopez and
Shakira.
I apologize, Shakira. Everybody is getting hazy when it comes to you. I apologize. People do need to give Shakira her props.
What have she done lately?
What have you
I don't know what J-Lo did lately, but
I mean,
Shakira
she got that movie out. The Hustlers with Cardi B and all of that. That's what she got lately.
I'm talking about
Shakira?
No, J-Lo.
I'm talking about song-wise.
Oh, yeah, nothing. I don't think.
Yeah, I think Shakira. I like Shakira.
Now, would you guys consider J-Lo an icon?
Yeah, definitely. You say no.
What is she icon of? The Latina?
Latina icon.
Okay.
Yeah.
She definitely one of the ones that brought it to the forefront. And then how she plays Selena, that's an iconic role to me.
Okay.
That right there is like almost like, that's like a Mitch and Payton fool.
I think this might be blasphemy, but I've never seen Selena.
Yeah, it's definitely blasphemy.
I've seen a movie.
Salute. That was a good movie.
It was.
Very good movie. And man.
So do you think...
But I don't think she's an icon because she plays Selena.
No, not just from that movie.
Okay.
I just think that she brought she was one of the people that bridged Latin culture to pop culture.
Okay.
And actually rap too.
Okay.
All three in one. Kind of like how, to me, Pitbull is too. Pitbull's an icon.
Okay.
So do you think Uncle Luke is justified in his disappointment with the Super Bowl picks?
Rightfully
Yes.
so, yes.
Why?
Because there's a lot of talented artists from Florida, and not just artists, there's DJs too. Like there's a lot of people. They got more than enough talent for Florida for everything to be in-house. There should be. The NFL, if they want to choose that city, their goal should be to bring that city revenue, and it should be as simple as that.
Well, you know what? I guess I feel indifferent about it only because I'm like, okay, J-Lo and Shakira, those are big names, big household names around the country. But they also play to the huge Latin community in Miami.
But so does Pitbull.
Pitbull does too.
So does Gloria
but
Estefan.
I feel like we probably had the same sentiments last year from Atlanta, right? We wish they would have had more Atlanta artists in Atlanta.
I just don't know. The NFL has such a black eye. I just don't know who they reached out to. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. I don't know who turned them down because the way Jermaine Dupri was talking, like,
a lot of people
he could have
turned them
did
down.
something with them. You know what I mean?
I would have loved to see Dre 3000 and Big Boy.
Yeah, that would have been great for Atlanta.
Yeah.
That should have been like a must almost.
But J-Lo and Shakira, I mean...
I'm not mad at the picks. I'm definitely not mad at the picks. But I do feel what Uncle Luke is saying. Like, if y'all using our city, make sure that the revenue's staying in-house.
Now, did y'all see that video of Big Tigger on the phone with Uncle Luke?
No.
Uncle Luke said he did speak to Jay-Z about it, but basically...
It was out of his hands?
He felt no, he didn't say it was out of his hands. Jay-Z felt one way about it, and Luke felt another way about it, and that
was just that.
Yeah.
I wonder what type of way Jay-Z felt about it, though. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they gonna bring out the Florida artists.
I mean,
yeah, so
like,
like,
works.
Yeah, does J-Lo or Shakira have any songs with Pitbull or?
I'm pretty sure J-Lo and Pitbull gotta have a song together.
And
It's not they should be working on one.
You know who's hugely poppy too is Flo Rida.
Yeah.
So he might get a little bit.
Shakira wants some of that money back though, boy, because didn't she just go through a crazy lawsuit?
I don't know, but
I
you know they
even
don't
know
pay
I
Super
haven't
Bowl.
heard her name in so long.
But
so
you get that publicity.
You
Though.
get huge publicity.
They said
but they do
your
not pay you.
streams go up crazy after you perform at the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
I believe it. When Justin Timberlake was on there, he had me singing the troll song.
I don't even know
I
what
like
that
Justin
is.
Timberlake.
I got that sunshine in my pocket.
Yeah, I don't know that
Well,
song.
well, if you got little kids, then.
I don't know kids.
But
I'm my children old.
I don't know. So does this make you guys look at Jay-Z the same way? Like,
I don't put none of this on Jay-Z. I don't care about. I just think the NFL got it wrong. Yeah, that's all I do.
And he just got there.
Yeah, they
He
might have had
just
those
got
games
there,
on
so
before.
I ain't gonna say
A lot of this stuff be planned out.
you know
way
what
ahead of
he's
time.
not doing yet because
Yeah.
he just literally got
That's
there.
Jessica
so-
trying to pour. She wanted to burn.
Did you feel some
Jay-Z
type
at
of
the
way about
stake.
him
Yeah, she
doing
does.
that, right?
doing the
NFL thing.
NFL
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, oh yeah.
She
Okay.
thinks him and Beyonce profits off of the black people struggle.
I feel like they definitely do profit off of their what's the word, activism. They do.
Okay.
But you said you didn't see nothing wrong with that.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
As much money as they pour back into the community. Now, if they was just,
They do not pour in even half of how much they make. So we could be, I don't.
The machine still gotta run. You gotta put money back into the machine.
Okay.
No, I ain't mad at.
People could do what they want as long as it ain't my money going back into the machine. Okay.
Well, I think it's a good thing that Jay-Z is sitting at the table.
He's not.
For the- He's not. What is he doing?
Nothing. He's a figurehead. That's the way I'm looking.
He's not sitting
She
at
don't
the
know what's
table.
going on. That's her assumption.
No, I mean, well, it's everybody's assumption at this point. And my whole point in the beginning, which I feel like nobody, like the rollout was completely horrible. And I feel like if the black community is your commodity and you're trying to sell us to the NFL, you owe us an explanation for the rollout of what you're doing. What does this deal entail? How are you going to be contributing to whatever you're saying that, what is it? Oh Lord, I got a brain.
Social justice.
Social justice.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
How are you going to be contributing? Like none of that was explained. And I feel like you owe us some sort of explanation, and to this day we still haven't gotten one. Everybody's like, okay, Lord, let's just see what happens. Why do we have to see what happened? He should explain to us.
Was it
what the
not
plan is.
explained, or did they just pick the clips that they wanted to pick out? Because that meeting was way longer than the clips that they showed us.
Right, but what
So
we
was it
also
explained or not?
it was, but what we also know is that Rock Nation had full control of all of the video in that room and what was released. So again, why do we not know? Why don't we know?
Jay, hit us up. We need answers.
And then, like I said before, I don't think that anything that's done this year has anything to do with Jay-Z. I just feel like all this stuff was already mapped out, and now, like in the future, we're going to see.
Well, according to that video, that interview, Luke didn't say that Jay-Z said he didn't have anything to do with the Super Bowl pick. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, but
Well,
he didn't.
He might be
He
standing
said
behind whoever made the decision.
He said if you had
Okay.
something to do with it, so he really don't know if Jay-Z had any. He don't know. He was
But
just.
Jay-Z could be.
What do you
standing behind his
mean?
partner.
Luke said he spoke directly to Jay-Z.
Okay, so Jay-Z might
He
be
did.
back
I
up
thought that he said that he has spoken to Jay-Z
in the past.
in the past, and that he.
No, he said he spoke to him.
See, she says he got an interview with Big Tigger, but that scene was.
I didn't
I
see
thought I
that.
shared that with y'all.
No, I didn't see
Well,
that
I didn't
one.
see it, but
Yeah.
when Luke was talking in his car, he said he talked to Jay-Z in the past.
Yeah, that's what I seen. I didn't see the interview with
But
Tigger.
but even if he talked to him, you can. If Jay-Z decides to back up whoever made that decision, you can't get mad at him for doing that either, because that's his partner.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope my partner would back me up in whatever decisions I made before they became my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. But at the same time, I think that when I was listening to he didn't say that Jay-Z said he disagreed with the Super Bowl picks,
and at the
which I
end of
guess
the
the
day,
expectation wouldn't be for him to even say that to anybody, even if he did.
Exactly. But even you got to look at it like this. It's a win for the black and brown people, regardless. At least they don't got Billy Ray Cyrus.
Is it? I don't consider it a win for black people.
I said black and brown people, like
brown people,
the Latina community. It is. At least we know that it's not a white person performing at halftime, and you know what I mean. At least it's a minority. I'll say that this headlining it.
Well, yay for
instead
the win
of Katy
for brown
Perry
people
or somebody like that.
Right.
You know what I mean.
I mean, I'm just.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean,
it don't matter to me.
I don't have a dog in this fight only because I'm not even supporting the NFL on that type of level. So
I don't got a dog in this fight because I don't listen to the halftime show anyway.
Right.
So it really don't have anything to do.
That was my favorite part when I used to watch a Super Bowl party with some food and a good halftime show.
I don't have a Super Bowl party not unless the Steelers go.
So you ain't gonna have one.
Yeah, so I haven't had one
and
because the Steelers. No, we'll watch, but it ain't no. I mean, we're gonna order chicken, but it ain't.
I started to buy those Ravens tickets for tomorrow too. Man.
So we'll see. I just think, we'll see. And Jay-Z, he's not saying much. He's not a man of many words. So,
but they did donate.
Actions.
Didn't they donate something crazy?
Yeah.
The NFL donated something nice.
I know Jay-Z is, and I can agree with you. Jay-Z is typically not a man of many words, but I feel like for what's at stake for us and for what the expectation that we have in our minds, he owes us. Okay. He owes us an explanation. So even if you needed to do some sort of press release or
maybe
something,
they might be still at the drawing board.
But I don't know if this is true or not. But from what I heard, the deal had been in negotiations for about a year before they even made an announcement. And if they're still at the drawing board, then why did they release anything about it until there was some sort of plan in place? I don't know. But
we'll see.
The issues that people want Jay-Z to tackle, those aren't easy issues to just wake up one day and say, I got the resolution for these issues. So, I mean, I could see for them wanting Jay-Z to be the head and the spokesperson and Rock Nation being the head and the spokesperson and stuff like that. But that don't necessarily mean the plan was drawn up for the resolution.
But there should have been something.
I don't think so. I just know that they know that they can start something big and be able to turn the image of the NFL around. You
know what? I feel like you're going to support Jay-Z unless he does something absolutely
No, I'm just saying, wait and see.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Just wait and see. Like, just because somebody signed their name on the dotted line and they make press pictures and little excerpts don't mean that they got the whole 10-year plan drawn up already.
Yeah, but I feel like, why do we gotta wait and see?
Because the NFL needs to change its image right now.
All right, so as a people,
put Jay-Z's face out there, even though Jay-Z might not have the game plan yet.
If you're making this deal with the NFL under the guise of we're gonna we're gonna do entertainment and we're going to tackle some social justice issues, I think as people, it's our responsibility to hold Jay-Z accountable. He's not above being held accountable for that.
But he's doing the job. Just let it marinate for a little bit. Let him get his feet. And
I feel like if we don't see no changes, because this was just made at the beginning of this season, if we don't see no changes coming into next season or whatever,
then we can start
holding him accountable for something. I feel like we just have to let this season play out because, the season's already
starting to act like when Obama got in the office.
No,
nothing changed in the first 30 days.
No, it's not even that. I feel like as Black people in this country, we're in a precarious position, right? Mm-hmm. So there's not another demographic of people who have the issues that we have. So it's important for us to hold him accountable from the gate, because he knows the type of stuff that we face. Like there's
I mean, I'm not saying no one hold him accountable, but just give him time. Hold him accountable, definitely.
But you give him time to. I feel like you give him time to
come up with a plan of
Get his
action.
shit together.
No.
He just got in there.
Yeah, like you can't. I ain't judging nobody that's in a probationary period. Let him get his feet in.
But
So you feel like he should, like when they announced it, he should have had like everything.
These are the rules.
No.
No.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, once you make the announcement, you should have a plan of action. I'm not saying he should have. Once you make the announcement, okay, this is what we've done. Blah 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 blah. No, I'm just saying, okay, tell us what is the plan of action. How do you plan to tackle these specific issues that you're saying?
I feel like he still has time to do that. I feel like them announcing him being there was like, hey, I'm here.
And then
here we go.
And then from what they were talking about too, a lot of the stuff that they're doing is to generate revenue to be able to, you know what I mean, put plans in place. So I look at it like if once they come up with a plan, then it's his job to let us know what that entails. Mm-hmm. But until then, we gotta let like the system take its place.
He's working on it, Jess. He's working on it.
So like the many other conversations we've had about this topic, we're gonna go ahead and walk away with our own.
Agree to
still,
disagree.
Yeah.
And that we are not enthused about the halftime performance at the NFL Super Bowl.
Well,
this upcoming Super Bowl.
Well, just like any award show, they're always late. So even if it had been somebody I wanted to watch, it probably been a song that I would have been sick of anyway. That would have been highlighting the show. So that's why I don't watch it. Like they probably had a little Nas X going on.
Yeah, man, for that too. So, all right.
Now I do think your girl would be good for a halftime show.
Mary J. Blige.
No, what's her name? Big Liz.
Lizzo.
Yeah,
she's
she don't got enough of a catalog, I think, yet.
I know,
yeah, but she's rocking out right now.
Oh yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She is fabulous.
She's like Missy 2.0.
She is.
She's
I don't know if I'll call her Missy.
Oh, I mean that's just
what
for the new generation.
She's dope though. She is.
Can't nobody hold Missy's candle, but
no.
For the new generation, she's entertaining like that. I would say. But other than Luke, because Luke was kind of tripping, but other than that, what else you guys want to talk about before we get into what everybody's talking about?
You want to talk about Trump?
See, I don't really know what's going on now with Trump. I'm just waiting for them to pull the trigger because I heard now that they got a tape of him really bribing somebody for Joe Biden to get Joe Biden.
Did you see the press conference this week where he not only solicited the help of Ukraine, but he solicited the help of China too?
That's what it was, China. I just seen that. Okay.
Like this was on TV.
Yes, and he didn't care. And he said something about like I feel like he was like, I don't care about politics. I just care about something. Like those was like his words. Like he said that.
Crazy,
like
man.
He has been able to do whatever it is that he felt like he wanted to do since he's been in office, and he's going to continue to do it until he's out of office. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out this week that there's actually been a second whistleblower who actually has been under the radar for months.
Yes.
And it's in regards to reviewing the president's tax returns.
Yeah, which they just forgot about because that was an issue in the beginning, but then it just, got swept under the rug. But now it's back again, and
but you know what though?
Tax returns is a problem.
Okay, so I feel like this second whistleblower is not a surprise to me, and as far as there being misconduct in regards to his tax returns, like from the beginning, he refused to, like when you're a presidential candidate off top, people normally voluntarily give their tax returns for the previous couple years or whatever. So he refused to do that. Okay, that's not, your refusal is not illegal, whatever. But that just let us know that there's probably something that you're hiding if you're going to go against the grain for something that people have been doing since the beginning of time or whatever. So there's that. Then you have Steve Mnuchin, the Secretary of the Treasury, he's given Maxine Waters a hard time, even when he went to testify in front of the I believe she's the chair of the finance committee. Don't kill me if I'm wrong. But he was giving her a hard time, very disrespectful to her, even when he basically he said that he doesn't have to share the president's tax returns and all of that, and just like really going against the grain. I'm like, this is the Secretary of the Treasury talking like this. Like, why are you giving Congress a hard time about submitting the president's tax returns? Because you know the IRS is under him.
Yeah.
So that's why I say this second whistleblower coming forward is definitely not a shock, because it seemed like there was some.
And I feel like he was first, but they pushed that under the rug. So here comes this other one. So now they bring him back up, or whoever back up. So it's a mess. I'm sick of it, and I can't wait till he's out of there.
Will he escape his term without being kicked out of office?
Probably.
Because we have what? A year, a little over a year left until the next election.
November, right?
November
So
2020.
Next year. He's gonna ride it out. That's what I think.
Man, I just know these debates are about to be terrible. So what's going on with Bernie? He just got out the hospital.
Heart attack.
Ain't nobody know he had a heart attack until he got out the hospital. They wasn't gonna tell anybody.
Because I didn't know until actually this morning that's what it was, and then they showed the clip of him. He was speaking somewhere. He took off his jacket, like he was having a heart attack in that moment.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. So he was sweating a lot. Yes, and I didn't want to fuck it up, but he was asking for something to drink, and as soon as that was over, like they took him straight to the emergency room. Wow. And he was actively having a heart attack.
So will we say Bernie's done?
No, I'm not gonna say that, because then Hillary did the Harlem Shake last time.
Yeah, but that was like with the flu or something, wasn't it?
That's what she said. She getting old too.
And he's in his 70s, and I feel like being the president of the
United States.
I know, but
Trump's in his 70s.
Yeah,
too.
but they said that being the president of the United States is the most stressful job.
Y'all want to give him one last hurrah? Let's make sure he wins it, just so we can give him a going away president.
I'm okay with
Bernie?
it. I guess I'm okay.
I'll be
with
sad
it.
if he loses.
I don't care who it is, for real, other than him.
I'll be sad. We got
at
least make it, because he wants to be president. We need to make his dream come true before he passes away.
Well, first of all, I'm 100% in support of Bernie Sanders anyway. So I care more. I care more about his health than I do about him being president. I think Andrew Yang is kind of like picking up some steam. I don't think, as of now, I wouldn't say that he's going to be the Democratic nominee, but
not at all.
I feel like his popularity is picking up. So the best bet would be for somebody to either have him in their cabinet or pick up a lot of the stuff from his platform and incorporate it into theirs.
For some weird reason, I think Elizabeth Warren might end up coming out of the.
They said she's doing pretty good.
Democratic.
Ever since this whole.
I don't think so either. I think she'll lose to whoever the Republican Party is, but I don't.
So you don't think she could beat Trump?
No, I don't think that none of these people could beat Trump. We're too.
Crazy.
It's too spread thin. The Democratic vote is too spread thin. There's too many people with their hand in the race.
Well, Trump is the Republican incumbent, and I could have swore I heard somebody on TV talking about this is like the first time they've ever had like another Republican trying to jump in the race to run against the.
Well, I think by the time that impeachment come out, it's going to be around the time where they're going to allow Republicans to come in, because they're going to make it to where Trump can't run again. I know for a fact they're going to do that, because he will win if he runs again.
Well, if he doesn't get taken out of office, I'm not sure how they can make it so he can't.
Well, if you get impeached, can you run again?
Yeah, Bill Clinton won.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got Trump winning.
So Bill Clinton won after he was impeached?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
If Trump don't get kicked out of office, I got him winning, honestly.
Oh, well, shit.
That's me. But I
don't
do
know.
think if we do give Trump a second term,
Now,
we
I
will
do
go to
feel
war or
like,
something. Yes, and I do feel that too.
I feel like Trump's indiscretions are way more egregious than Bill
Yes.
Clinton's.
Yes.
But I don't know
Absolutely.
with the support. I know that now some Republicans are trying to like distance themselves and call him out, but it's not enough for my liking.
But the only reason why they're doing that is because just because it's the presidential election, they're still going to have to get elected back in. So you kind of got to shy away from all this.
Party before country.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on.
We need to support our own.
So people will wait until they get their vote again, and then they're going to go back in line if he becomes president again. As you can see, whenever they was talking about the way he was acting before he became president, that none of the Republicans like him. As soon as he got sworn in, everybody, it's not too bad.
Well, I think that...
Everybody was like, let's just see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that Giuliani is going to give him up at the end. Like, I want to see how that play out because Giuliani I feel like he's teetering. He lies so much, just like Trump. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Didn't he get caught in a lot the other day?
Yes. Like, every time he do an interview. So they told him to stop doing interviews because he kept lying and it's a mess. And then he just said...
Giuliani is out here like a renegade.
He just said the other day, like, he don't know if he's going to testify. He got to make sure, he got to weigh all his options. So that told me that he is going to testify if he, once he is called, he's going to give up tape. That's what I think.
You think?
Yes, he's a lawyer. He don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, but you know what else? Right now, the Secretary of State, Pompeo, Bill Barr, and Giuliani, they could be like on a chopping block. Like they could really go to jail.
Yes.
So like, I don't know. Like
that's why I said like he's gonna give up tape because he's not going to jail. He's not. So we'll see.
And wait, didn't they say was it Giuliani? Giuliani went and talked to Manafort, right? While he's in jail.
Yes.
Like who does that?
Giuliani. Giuliani. That's what I'm saying. Like he's unstable and I don't know. It's a mess.
Giuliani was a
yes.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how the narrative has changed around Giuliani since 9/11? Remember, he was a hero.
Well,
he was the hero of the country.
How many years ago was
during
that?
9/11?
Now. You can't have an old person represent.
I think he was probably just as much of a crackpot as then, but the response of everybody, how quickly they responded and how well they did during that crisis made him look good.
And that's all it did was make him look good, but he was never good. He was never good.
So yeah.
So that's that on that.
So what are we gonna get into the meat and potatoes? Amber Geiger.
Oh yes.
So Amber Geiger was convicted of murder and sentenced to 10 years with the possibility of parole at 5. So what do you guys thoughts about that?
Rest in peace to the victim and
Botham
the
Jean.
victim's family. I'm glad it was a conviction. Everybody knows the sentence was a joke, but I'm glad it was a conviction. And as long as the family's at peace, I'm like, it's a tough pill to swallow, but as long as the family's at peace, it's nothing I'm gonna.
Now, let me ask you this: was the conviction of a joke, considering she probably hasn't had any other prior arrests?
No, it wasn't a joke to her because she got. As soon as she was found guilty, she was arrested and taken into jail because she was out up until that point. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's That was huge for me. And she's a police officer, and she got charged. Like
that's a win for us.
Charged and convicted, because a lot of them get charged.
Yes. So I think it's a start.
But I feel like with the sentencing, I'm not gonna be mad at her sentence, but they need to feel the same compassion and leniency towards the black people that may make a mistake like that. And that's the only thing. One mistake shouldn't cost you the rest of your life.
Right.
And it really should be like, jail should be as far as trying to get rehabilitated and not try to keep somebody on punishment for the rest of their life.
But they was holding her at a higher standard because she was a Dallas police officer, and she had more training than the average person did. She did not perform CPR.
That was the worst.
If anyone listened to the 911 tapes, she immediately said, "I'm gonna lose my job. I fucked up." Like, those was her first, like, some of her first words. So she immediately knew that she, messed up. Even before she said, "I thought I was in my apartment. I thought I was, I thought I was in my apartment." Like, how did you not know that you weren't? Like, that just...
But not only that, the way when she was on the stand testifying, she made it, the way she was talking, it made it feel like that his life was less of a life than anybody
It was.
else. Like, when they asked her, did she perform CPR? It was like, no, like, that wasn't my main concern. Like, what?
Yeah, because her main concern was...
Losing her job.
Her losing her job.
This dude,
now you're losing years of your life.
Yes. And they fired her, 7 days afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was just,
And you think that was because of do you think that's because they had to do an investigation, or because of the community or national uproar about it?
I think that they fired her because they were trying to do so much to make it look like she wasn't at fault, that they couldn't do no more to make it look like that, because she was really at fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, them going in, searching his apartment. Like, why did they ever do that? Like,
because they was trying to find something to make him look bad.
And they did. They found a little bit of weed or whatever. So what? Like, you know what I'm saying? He was out here eating ice cream. Like, that didn't have anything to do with that. Like, you know.
But I do feel like
since
she's in the union, it's probably that process. So that's probably what it was like.
So what? So did he not have? Was it a situation where his door was unlocked and she walked in, or did she knock? And
well, I don't think she knocked. She tried to say it was open, but the neighbors, everybody say those are the type of doors that automatically close. So he might not have locked it, but it probably was closed.
Okay.
And the people who testified said he was so articulate that they don't believe that his door was unlocked. Like, he would have locked his door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, coming in.
I didn't know what did with him being articulate with. I didn't.
They said if he would have,
like,
he's very detailed. He's a mathematician, so he's real detail oriented. So they said if he came in the door, he locked his door, went to his right side or left side, and dropped his keys in his bowl, because they said there was a table that was sitting right there where he would put his keys in. They said he wouldn't have left his door unlocked.
And he worked for a huge company, PricewaterhouseCoopers.
But they said that there was neighbors that heard her saying, "Open the door, open the door," like she knocked on the door. So he opened the door for her.
Which it seemed like he was eating a bowl of ice cream.
Which is weird, because if you're knocking, telling somebody open the door, at no point do you look down and see this red rug and realize this is not your rug.
And then he opened up the door and was like, what do you want? And she's like, what are you doing in my apartment? Because it just don't make no sense. This is my apartment. And she still forced her way in.
See, and they didn't
they didn't drug test her, huh?
I don't know if they.
I don't think they would have to drug test.
Because I'm thinking, even if I'm in an apartment building, even if I went so far as to bang on a door, well, first of all, my key doesn't work. That's a telltale sign. It's not my place.
Right.
But nonetheless, if I'm banging on a door, at no point would I look down and be like, "Oh snap, my bad. This ain't even my."
Right.
But I
couldn't find a reason why she would single him out to kill him. or to go into his apartment either.
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know
weird.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, just
Everything
like,
about the situation.
the whole
is weird.
situation.
That's why I was asking
weird.
if she was drug tested.
But I think after you discharge your gun, you do get drug tested.
She said she was tired. She worked a double shift.
And she was arguing with the dude she talked to.
Yeah, which don't studies show that when you're exhausted, that lapses of judgment that are similar to being under the influence of a substance.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I feel like the 911 tape, I feel like she immediately knew. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But she was like, this gonna be my excuse.
This is, yeah.
Sure
It started because her first words before she even said, I thought it was my apartment, she was like, I fucked up. I'm gonna lose my job. Like, those was her words. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, I thought it was my apartment. So she had to think of something of why she was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was it for her. Like, well, I thought it was my apartment. It wasn't your apartment. You can literally hear O.P.O.V, that's what they called him taking his last breath in that night.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I didn't listen to it.
You can like it, you know, so I don't know. I just think that she went to jail, and I'm happy for that. Like, I don't care if she did a week in jail. Like, she's in jail right now. Like, she got convicted of murder, and she's in jail.
The only thing I hate about the whole situation is I guarantee if she come out in the 5+ years, she's going to be like a damn near celebrity. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Yeah.
And she's going to be able to make a whole living off of being the person.
She's going to get a story. She's going to get a Lifetime movie.
A book.
About how I was in jail.
Yes. That's sad.
So.
That's sad.
Yeah. So with that being said, after the sentencing got handed down, we heard testimonies from a lot of people, like neighbors, father, mother, and then we're seeing that the brother actually got up there and said something that was that was really uncommon for somebody to get up there and say on the stand. He basically said that he forgave her and he doesn't want her to rot in jail.
He said if it was up to him, he didn't want her to do no jail time.
Right. He told her he loved her, and he feels like his brother would want. Basically, he feels like his brother would want mercy on her, and you know.
Yeah, that was a nice thing. I mean, that's something to where that could be something heavy on your heart.
He also asked the judge if he could give her a hug, and so the judge allowed it. And then after that all happened, the judge went somewhere, I'm guessing back into her chambers, got what looks to be a Bible, gave it to her, pointed to her specific passage in the Bible, also gave her a hug. So the whole courtroom was pretty much boohooing in tears. It was just like a big thing.
There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom because I watched it live. I you know, him saying that his brother wouldn't have wanted that, from all the testimony, like I feel like his brother probably wouldn't have wanted that. Like everybody who spoke of that man, it was like,
and that's what I got from it.
He was a wonderful guy. Like, kudos to his mom and dad because they raised some wonderful kids. Because the sister, you know, and the younger brother, because they were they're awesome. So you know, I felt like the 18-year-old boy, kudos to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody, you know, had an opinion about that, but we can't have an opinion about how he felt. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he even said, you know, against his family, you know what I'm saying?
Like, they didn't know that he was going to say that.
He was not going, so I just took it as he had a personal relationship with his God, and forgiveness was number one priority for him. So that's what he chose to do. So if he spoke those words, and he was very adamant about the words that he spoke, who are we to judge? Who are we to have an opinion on that?
That's a pivotal point in her life, too. So, like, him saying that might be what she really needs to do to change her the way she thinks.
And he said that, like, I hope you seek Christ. Yeah. Like, you know, I hope you see Christ.
That was one of the best moments I've seen in the courtroom, no matter.
Everybody.
But I feel like if you, from the outside, because he got so much heat from it.
He did.
But I think it's from the people who really didn't.
But even looking, no. I think that, because I've seen a lot of people's comments, like on social media and stuff, and a lot of people were saying, Black people are way too forgiving. It would never be me. Ain't nobody gonna kill none of mine, and I forgive them, and blah blah blah. But when you're looking at it from a for real Christian standpoint, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah,
and if you're a non-Christian, then obviously you don't understand that. And even some Christians might not even be able to bring themselves to do it. So that really made me cry, because I feel like as Christian people, it does. Well,
I feel like
for him, it did.
Because that's his religion. But he could have been a Muslim and did the same thing. It's just the way you heal. I think that's a good way for him to heal, is getting into that Bible and being able to, you know what I mean, spew it out. I feel like that's a wonderful way of trying to heal. You can't tell somebody how they heal.
And here's one thing, and I know I need to get away from this too. Like, people always say what they coulda, woulda, shoulda did if that was them, but it's not you.
Because guess what? That person got all that anger built up from.
If it was actually you, you don't know what you would do.
Yes.
Number two, if you ever sit in the moments or think about the moments where you were actually angry or furious about anything, that's blocking you from anything else. Like, when you see red, that's all you see.
I agree.
And people acting like his brother got killed yesterday. You know what I mean? He had a whole year to process that. That's, if you hold hatred, and I mean, again, I probably wouldn't have been. He was a bigger man, and I probably would have been on that stand. But at the end of the day, I can't be mad or ridicule him for doing what he did.
But holding on to stuff like even like anger, depression, sadness, that has an impact on every single facet of your life.
Yeah,
your job, the relationship with your kids, and everything.
You probably start drinking more, more crazy stuff.
So I think that, like, doing that, I know it's easier said than done, but forgiveness is so real, and it's so much more for you than it is the other person.
And it was genuine. You could tell the way the judge and him was acting, that it was really genuine. It wasn't like they was putting on the show for the cameras or whatever. It just seemed like she's a motherly type of judge, and she wants this lady to get her life right. And the same thing as far as with the brother. It seemed like you said, I think their parents raised them right. And even though that might not have been what his mom expected him to say, that had to warm her heart.
Right.
No, that his son, her son.
He did an interview today, I think, this morning, and he basically was saying like he didn't care what nobody said.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was just like, I did what I did, and
that's the one thing about social media, man. That I hate, because I definitely didn't think that he would have got that type of backlash. Because whenever I text y'all after it went off, I'm like, man, this is like one of the warmest things I ever seen.
I was bawling. I mean, I watched it after the fact on YouTube. I was bawling.
I watched it laugh.
And then the next day I go on my timeline, I'm starting to see memes of him and stuff. I'm like, what happened? What happened?
People are cruel. I read a comment that said it was, it was slave mentality that he had, because he forgave her, and I was just like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? I know that
there's a lot of people. There's even
some type of trauma in our life, whereas though we had somebody do something to us, and we're like, I'll never forgive them. I'll never, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not even that powerful as a murder or some, and we say those things, like, you know what I'm saying? But once you let those things go, I feel like you can actually feel the weight of whatever that is lifted off of your shoulder. So it doesn't matter what anybody's opinion is of that situation. That's on you, because you got to carry that. Like, right. You know what I mean? So people's like, I seen people saying, somebody killed me, you better not hug the killer, or, you know what I'm saying? That's selfish.
But
that's selfish.
To me too, they was always they was comparing it to how we don't have compassion for our own people, but they have compassion for her. But you can't, I hate when people try to make all black people as one. We all individually. Somebody, just because I feel like he would have had compassion whether the person was white or black.
I do too.
So
that's just the type of people that
they seem like.
Is.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He was.
Like, when you think about it, like, when you harbor anger and different type of feelings like that, Now imagine everything you feel like to the point where you could touch your skin and it be warm, or like you're hot.
Yes.
But that other person might not be thinking nothing about you
At all.
So you got this anger for what?
For what?
They're like,
what?
That if somebody was to ask them, they might be like, oh, they still mad about that?
Yeah. And
So now you're just
in
mad.
here tossing and turning at night. You can't sleep at night. You can't eat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Come on.
So that's why forgiveness is for you.
Yeah, it's
But
for you.
but as far as like the laws, period, though, one thing that I do want them to start doing is really realizing and recognizing that some of these sentences are outrageous.
Absolutely.
So I mean, her getting the 10 years, I'll be okay with that if that's the precedent to start making sure all
Everybody.
yeah, because if they start treating them early like a rehabilitation, nobody shouldn't be in jail for like 30 years or anything like that. If you can't rehabilitate somebody in 10 years.
I feel like
Maybe they
Well, we know that.
or if you are killing somebody for nothing, like, you know what I'm saying,
Or like a serial
like
killer.
in these streets, like, you know what I'm saying, they fighting over these streets and they don't even own shit on these streets. Like, you know what I'm saying, like that's crazy to me. Like, you know what I mean. So I don't know. I just think because she was a cop and because she was charged and is doing jail time, that's
a plus.
Yeah,
So you think
that's a plus.
the thinking behind the sentencing is this is somebody who's a decent person who made a bad choice one night? You think
Well,
it's
if
more so that?
She was not
she's
decent.
a public servant.
I mean,
so
she's
that probably
to
got
me
a
like,
plus.
and I didn't watch live and all that.
Okay.
But from the stuff that I like, her texting the other person talking about not
And
racist,
I feel like
but
if they didn't, they
like-
should be looking into that other police officer that she was text messaging because he was saying some bullshit too. Like, he should be suspended or fired or some shit too.
right, like if you have to preface what you're saying with not racist, but you're
Didn't she
probably
say she wanted the racist dog working with her?
Well, he said that the dog was probably racist, and she was like, I mean, I am too a little bit or something, you know. She said. So the other cop said something about him working with 5 African American police or whatever, and she was saying how to get them to move away, like just spray mace, and they'll disperse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just little shit, and like her little memes and shit that she posted on Pinterest was like, had some racial undertones to it, or that she was the shit because she was the police and she had some type of power. So those things, you know what I'm saying, make me think that she had some type of undertone, but like, I still don't understand why she went into that man's apartment. Like, I really don't know. And, like, looking at it, like, you know, even if she was knocking on the door and he opened up the door and he like backed up because she was in full uniform. You know what I'm saying? So he probably did back up, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It still didn't click, you know, that she was in the, like.
You ain't gonna even double back and look up the number again?
Yeah, that shit just don't make no sense, and it's really, really sad. And I just read on, you know, I don't know how true that is, but his neighbor, who he had smoked a joint with, was found shot to death last night. So I'll have to look into that to see if that's true, because that's sad. And also, I read about the person who videotaped when it first started out. She, her name is Bunny something, and she started videotaping and how she got blacklisted and death threats and like all this type of backlash because she videotaped. And she said she held on to that videotape for 2 days before she even released it. She said the only thing that made her release it was that they were looking at Bo like he did something wrong. So that's what made her release her video. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she said the feds came to her house. They didn't want to show no ID or give her no card. Like, it was just, you know, people was calling her job. So then her job said, we don't want nothing to do with you or that. We got to let you go. Her job actually gave her credentials. They took them back. So now it's hard for her to even get another job. She said Instagram shut her down. Facebook shut her down. Like, it was just like a whole lot that happened to her just because she posted a video. And she said she wasn't standing in any position to blame anybody. She was just
This is what happened.
This is what happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't know.
She didn't put her own little sauce.
She didn't say anything. All she did was post a video. And she said she posted the video so people could form their own opinion because they only had that one side of it. So whenever she posted the video, she was just posting the video so they could see another side to it because they only had that one side.
So do you think that what happened is probably, when it came to Amber Geiger, the powers that be were probably trying to figure out some way that they could get her out of it. But no matter how you slice it, like we can't, there's no way we can get you out of this type of situation.
Like we were talking about the castle doctrine, like that, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that was interesting about how they allowed the jury to use that. I was like, wow.
That didn't make no sense.
It wasn't
she
her
said
apartment.
that the Dallas police came to her house every day for 2 weeks straight and asked her the same exact questions over and over again.
To see if she switched up.
To see if she has switched. One thing about the truth never changes. I don't care how many times you ask me the same question or how many different ways you ask me, the truth is always going to remain the same. Period. And that's what she kept giving them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then they stopped coming, and then the feds,
because they wanted to be able to discredit her as a witness.
Yes. And she said she told the same thing over and over again because it was the truth and there was nothing else other to tell. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they was trying to make it in the video that she showed. It was 2 police officers she was talking to some other fellow police officers while they was in the apartment. What were they talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what what was the conversation that was had?
Coached?
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
like
we
right
know
there.
that when it comes to like the police standard, they're gonna look out for each other. It's like a fraternity.
Yeah, they're gonna stick together.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then like her pacing back and forth on the phone. Who was she talking to? Like, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't on the phone with 911 at that point because, you know what I'm saying, there was, they were already there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she videotaped that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where we wouldn't have been able to see that had she not, you know what I'm saying? So,
so it might have been a situation where you're on the phone with somebody, some upper authority figure, like, oh man, I messed up.
Who are you talking to?
Like,
so it was just, I'm just glad she went to jail. Like, so... And kudos to Bo's brother. I can't think of his name. What was his name?
I can't remember.
It started with a B. I know that.
Yeah. Kudos to him. If you forgave her, and who are we to judge? We can't judge you. Charlemagne the God said something about that, and everybody think that because Charlemagne the God said some shit. Like,
what did Charlemagne
about
say?
white Jesus, about how
like
we're compassionate to white people because we worship white Jesus, and so black people tend to be more compassionate to white people than because they see them as the maker, and we don't have that same compassion towards our people. He said we need to stop worshiping white Jesus. That's what he said.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I feel like anybody who is
he said it's basically PTSD from slavery.
Again, because Charlemagne the God said it, like...
I mean, but when it comes to Jesus, anybody who is familiar with, like, the description of Jesus, even though that's the image that they put out there, if you're familiar with the description of Jesus, it's not that of a white person.
See, but I don't think he must didn't see the stuff live. Because like I was just saying, I feel like their forgiveness was genuine. I don't feel like it was on some Uncle Tom type stuff. Now, if it was coming off looking like some Uncle Tom type of stuff, then I could understand what you're saying. But it definitely seemed like it was genuine that they just didn't want to have to deal with that being heavy stress on their heart.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I feel like even if you take religion, spirituality out of it, whatever, if you're any type of self-aware, and I would imagine at this point Charlemagne is, because he talks so heavily about mental health and depression, like, you should be able to be aware of how you feel when you carry those type of feelings and what type of impact it has on your facets of your life.
I feel like a lot of people making these assumptions and
but even if you didn't watch it,
degrading the whole situation. I feel like they're just looking at what happened.
And I feel like a lot of them, they look at what's posted or
Yeah,
what comes down their
exactly.
timelines, and
Exactly.
they make their opinion off of that.
Exactly.
And that
Instead
just
of
happened
actually
with that
watching.
whole Jermaine Dupri situation.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't even have the full story. All they had was what was coming down their timeline, and because they had a platform.
Jay-Z told him not to do it.
Right, because they have a platform, they're on the radio show or whatever. They didn't do no homework. Like, they didn't do no research. They didn't
just
check
seen
no
it come down
receipts.
there.
They just made that
well, as far as the
It's
Jermaine
easier to
Dupri,
make a decision and be wrong about it as long as it's a hot topic and then apologize for it later.
Right.
It's
You
not
know what,
bringing up the
though?
story at all.
Right.
I
They
can
don't
say
wanna miss
that as
something.
far
Right.
as the
I agree.
excuse me, as far as the Jermaine Dupri, there was some sort of tweet circulating, and I don't know if it was doctor or what, but it was a tweet that said it was a tweet by Karen Civil. And she's like somebody who's huge.
Yeah,
I think
Karen
in
Civil, she
PR and the
put a
hip
lot-
hop community, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she put on a lot of
So,
people.
like, people would consider her credible.
Mm-hmm.
So if she says it, it has to be true, right?
No.
I'm not saying it is, but
Right.
what I'm saying is maybe that might be some of the thinking behind believing it. When I heard that people were saying that Jay-Z called him and told him not to do it, I kind of sat at it like, I don't know if all that happened.
Yeah, it's like playing
But-
a telephone game, though.
But again, I don't know if the tweet from Karen Civil is a legit tweet, if it's doctored or not. But even if it is, where did she get her information to? Like, I don't
I
know.
just shut everything down once I went to the source, which was Jermaine Dupri and his
Right.
interview. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So
I didn't say
everything-
anything else about it after
Yeah,
that.
like everything. And,
I feel
and
like
that
it was
just
that whole
proved it.
weekend was so stupid.
Yeah, like,
like
it was.
I was like, why did we do this whole weekend? And it was just as simple as him saying, no, this didn't happen.
Right.
This is how it went
shouldn't
down,
even got
and
that big of a but that's how it is
Exactly.
now. It's guilty till proven innocent. Because if you're a hot topic, it's like, damn, we can't let this news source get it out before we do. So
But when
let's get
it
it out
comes-
and then we'll apologize later for it if it's not true.
but I feel like when it's
Yes.
but I feel like when it comes to being black, it's always been guilty till proven innocent, regardless of what they say.
Well, the hot topics are negative topics. That's why a lot of times, even with the algorithm with Facebook, they get on you. They get on them the software owners for that, because a lot of stuff that come down your timeline is for you to click on it. It's going to be negative or some type of racy comment.
I just feel like if they have those type of platforms, they're on the radio, you know what I'm saying?
They should be held to a high
Somebody in that
standard.
room should at least fact check.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there should be somebody in there that's like, okay, y'all go ahead, but I'm gonna do the research so we can have some type of fact. Or
But you
know,
can't
say
fact
something.
check when the Jermaine Dupri said it took him a lot to even speak on it, because he
I'm so
said he
glad
was
he did.
quiet. He said
Yeah,
he
he
was stay
was.
quiet. But that's the thing. You can't fact check until the person who's about comes out and says something. And not so if Jermaine Dupri would have stayed quiet, we would have still been
Just
running
ran
this
with
notion
the-
about
ran with the
Jay-Z
bullshit.
back this way.
Yeah, so.
Because I definitely would. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of was like, man, that sounds crazy. Like Jay-Z doing that to boys. Because you know how he used to take boys' music back in the day. So it's like, is he doing that in the business world?
I just cannot stand like how, as far as, I think this is something that's has a lot to do with Americans and our mentality. Why do we get fixated on stuff that ultimately don't even freaking matter? Like,
No, we do that a lot. Like the freaking halftime show.
but then like just like
Right.
we were talking about earlier, even with the whole Donald Trump stuff, like in that press conference with Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, she talked about prescription drugs, there being a cap on how much pharmaceutical companies can charge us for prescription drugs, which is the thing that a lot of other countries do. But we live in capitalist United States, and we just let them run amok with these prices. So that's something that is huge for us, but nobody said a peep about it. So I'm hoping that passes.
Right.
But there was another one too, and it just goes to show, I don't even remember what the other thing is right now, but nobody talked about those two things. All they wanted to hear her talk about is impeachment inquiry, Trump, whistleblower. What are you guys doing now? What is the latest developments? Like,
That's
But there
the
were
juicy
way
stuff.
more important
Right.
things that she talked about in that press conference too.
Mm-hmm.
Or equally, no, I would say those are more.
It's more important.
things.
Anything to do with pharmaceutical drugs is probably the most important thing because it's going to help out our elderly and hopefully improve.
And just anybody who takes medication every day, like if you got diabetes or, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't have a stake in that Amber Geiger trial or anything like that, but it was, you know, a hot topic. It was, you know, trending, but, you know, we've seen police officers kill people on video and charges dropped.
That Eric Gardner,
like,
that was like the worst thing ever.
Like they ain't go to jail, like, you know,
Or
so
Lucy.
so being that wasn't captured on video and she got charged with murder and went to jail, like that's a win for us.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like that. So, and who are we to judge? We all got shit with us, and you know, somebody can easily say something about us. You know what I'm saying? And then we have to fight, you know, our way out of that situation or whatever. So, I try not to be a judgmental person. So, I try to look at things for both sides. You know what I mean? Like look at it on both ends.
Yeah.
Before I make my assumption or my
opinion. That's why. And then I hate to beat a dead horse, but that's why I'm waiting to see what Jay-Z actually does.
I could agree with that too. Yeah. So, anyhow.
Weren't we supposed to talk about weed legalization in Pennsylvania?
Oh, let's hit on that real quick.
Shout out to the lawmakers.
Yes. Tom Wolf. Fetterman.
Federer. He's that's the homie right there. I hope once he gets his feet down up in there in Harrisburg, he
came through making moves.
Run
Keep
for
making moves.
governor.
Yes. Because weed.
And I think locally, a lot of people. He's beloved in the Mon Valley.
But we seen the way he was trying to change Brad up.
Yes,
yeah,
and he did. He did. Like, you know what I mean. So
didn't they say since he was in, like, the crime rate significantly dropped over there?
Yep.
You actually see happy people.
Yes. Businesses were starting to come up. Like, you know, businesses was opening up over there. So kudos to him. Shout out to Fetterman. And Tom Wolf, shout out to him for even getting Tom Wolf because he was against that before Fetterman, you know, got on board, and now he's on board with that. So that's huge.
A lot of people are coming around to the thing too. It's a great alternative for you not to have to use a medication or opioids. Say that
right. I've seen personally. A family member dying from cancer who was not able to eat for like 3 months and was like, here, hit this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she was able to eat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was able to eat and hold it down. Because, like, she would eat, but she couldn't hold it down. Yeah. And then the weed even gave her an appetite. Like, she never was like, oh, let me get some chicken. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I seen those effects on, you know, cancer patients. So I do look at it, you know, on that aspect too. But like recreational weed, or if you getting pulled over and you got a dime and they booking you or whatever they doing, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like none of that shit should be held against you. It's weed. It's weed. It's a plant.
See, my big thing is all right, everybody's coming around to it, but we got to start getting these people out of jail just going down with these horrendous sentences for doing what y'all realize is harmful now.
Right. People not able to get apartments or get jobs because they.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Like,
as far as it being legal, I was doing what I'm doing even when it was illegal, so that ain't gonna stop me. It's just a lot of the stuff that people was getting punished for. They need to wake up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I like to have it like they got it. I know it's baby steps, but I like to have it like they got it in New York. Like, if I need a job, their drug test shouldn't have anything to do with weed. You know what I mean?
I agree. I totally agree with that. So,
because I know how companies are going to be. They're going to still be.
Oh yeah.
It might be legal, but you can't do it working here.
But how?
Because that's how it is everywhere else. It all depends on your company, but they got to make that legislation law like they did in New York to where they can't hold it against you. Because a lot of people do take it for anxiety. Not even a lot, I do get anxiety a lot, especially on Monday mornings.
Well, I mean, but if that's the case, wouldn't they be able to do it with alcohol in your job?
I mean, but alcohol don't stay in your system. Like, you know what I'm saying? So even if you...
Depending on how much you drink.
How much you was drinking. Like, yeah, but, I mean, if you...
And if you're a real alcoholic, you might have took you a swig before you took that drug test.
You probably
Which
have it
is
in the water bottle.
I feel like that's the worst drug on the market is alcohol, and that shit's legal.
Well, I think meth might be the worst. Oh, you mean legal drug?
But it's legal. Like, you know what I'm saying? They look at alcohol as a drug along with the other drugs. But alcohol is legal. Like, you can legally go buy your drug. Like, nobody's questioning you about this fifth you about to buy, and then you coming back in 2 hours and buying that. Like, nobody's monitoring that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And tobacco. The two worst. But guess what? That's what most of this country is built off of.
So
the Fortune 500 companies are built off of bootleg liquor and illegal tobacco products.
Leave the weed alone. Like,
well, I guess it got to come around. It's coming around.
Yeah, take its course.
The first thing we got to do is get all these old people out of office. And like you said, get Fetterman and all of them in office. The people
because they think that weed is a gateway drug, and that once you start smoking weed, you will move on to bigger and better things.
I was watching Joe Rogan. He talked about why they was saying it was a gateway drug. They was trying to scare people. I want to say he said back in the 80s. No, because of the hippies. That's what they said, because of the hippies.
So they were smoking weed, and then weed wasn't getting them high enough, so they started snorting coke.
No, the hippies was like. They tried to make the hippies bad because hippies was like anti-America, because that was like when the war and everything was going on. So they was like basically like they don't believe in the man. So in order to get America to stop liking the hippies, they were saying that that's how this is your brain and this is your brain on drugs. That's when all that stuff started getting created. They wanted people to vilify the hippies, basically.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, they was talking about that. I was like, that makes sense, because everybody that wasn't like Woodstock and stuff, it seemed like they hated anybody that was fighting in the Vietnam War.
They was against all war. They wanted peace and love and weed.
And the government was like, nah, get away from these hippies. They teaching y'all the wrong stuff. But it would be crazy though if we wasn't so divided like that, though. Like, the older people would realize that. Well, I guess there is some young people that's straight rude with the weed smoke, though. You know what I mean? I'm not trying not to be that way. I'm still trying to be respectful for the person who's next to me and they don't smoke weed. There's some young people that sit there and blood down right in front of the old white lady's face. And I can't do that. That's just never been me. Would you do that? In public?
No. I would be a discreet weed smoker.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm happy. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
And I didn't think that.
I think it's huge for everybody who has been to jail, you know what I'm saying, for small amounts of weed, and, you know, for those convictions to be overturned and expunged. Yeah, and expunged, so they can move on with their life. And that's the only thing that they ever peddled was marijuana. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't get caught with no, you know, no other type of drugs. It's just weed. Like, come on. Like, it's weed.
So, look, imagine being that person that got snitched on for weed, and now he about to get his stuff expunged and come home. The snitch is probably about to throw up, like, I can't believe I'm about to get out of jail. Y'all told me it was 30 years.
And they just, like, this week somewhere, where was it at? In Beaver? They found all that weed, like $100,000 worth of weed, and they burnt it. Like, it was like,
that's what they do then.
It was a pool. It was a pool used to be there, but they were growing the weed in that pool, like the size of a pool, which they estimated it to be about $100,000 worth of weed, and they seized it and they burnt it like right there, you know,
Beaver
on
County.
the head. Yes,
also Beaver County.
Oh, you know what? Can I just interrupt real quick? So, because it was really eating at me that I didn't know the other thing that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi talked about in that press conference.
Okay.
So the first thing was the prescription drugs, putting the
Okay.
cap on the prices, and then the second was legislation on gun violence, which is huge,
Yes.
but nobody's talking about that.
Okay. Yeah.
So what did she pass for the legislation?
Well,
What she trying to
they're
pass?
proposed bills. I guess they're supposed to vote on them,
Mm-hmm.
and that just goes to show I don't even know what's in the bills because
Yeah,
I heard them mention it in the press
So
conference and
is
I
this-
couldn't even
Florida.
remember
Is
it.
this something like what Peduto is against? Like Peduto,
The stop putting the stocks on the gun.
yeah, and like assault rifles in the
Yeah.
city limits. I agree with that.
I would have to.
I agree with it, but they ain't getting it passed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but any type of proposed gun violence legislation, I shouldn't say any type because some might be bad, but I would suggest all of us reading into this
Yeah.
bill
Yeah.
I don't think
that
that
they
they're
are
going-
talking about putting through. But you know, they've been at a standstill for a long time
Yeah,
as
that
far
ain't
as
it.
putting any sort of
Anything
gun
on
violence.
it. 'Cause
Yeah.
you could just
Because it's taking
Yeah.
it's playing with people's rights, so they ain't gonna do that. But
I
I like to stand with Colt did. I think that's where it needs to come from. I think they need to just stop manufacturing them. Period. Like the gun companies need to stop manufacturing. I think if we wait for government to do something, it's never gonna get done. Because after Sandy Hook, if nothing still ain't happened after Sandy Hook, I
No,
can't.
yeah.
see
That's
that
crazy.
happening.
Right.
But yeah, I just really wanted to mention that real quick because I thought those were two important things that nobody's talking about, but we're so.
Well, I like it though. I
on
like it that they're
Trump.
bringing it up, but you know just how it's a good time to bring it up around because it's around election time. That's the only thing I don't like it. So I think they're going to try. Whoever's trying to push these policies is going to be like, well, I voted for this. I did that,
Right,
so they can
right.
get the vote.
Yeah, but
Meanwhile,
I
they
feel
won't
like
get
this is how
passed.
things get passed.
It's
I
not going
mean,
to get passed though.
I'm not saying it will or won't. I don't know, but the point I'm trying to make is that this is how things sneak in under our noses because we're so laser focused on impeachment inquiry,
Yeah.
Trump, the whistleblower,
The hot
that
topics.
nobody even talked about them mentioning these specific things. They also mentioned
that will affect
trade
us.
agreements too, but those are the two things that I'm like, oh, when I watched the press conference, I'm like, oh, nobody's talking about those two things, and those things are really huge. And
I agree.
Yeah, wishful thinking from Congress, but hopefully I ain't gonna be negative. Hopefully it does get passed, but if I had to bet on the winning horse,
why? Because of the NRA and how much they
influence.
influence. But so
But I
that
don't even know. I ain't gonna even say that. I'll say it's more the libertarians too. Like when you start talking about somebody's gun rights, they always don't want it being touched, screwed with at all because they feel
yeah,
like
but
it's the
then
government
but
trying
that
to
would
come down on them.
but if you're
Yeah.
if
You have
you're
the right to bear arms.
You do, but
but
that's-
you don't need an AR-15.
But once you start
You don't.
talking that to the libertarians, they're like, "What? No, you're not allowed to." You know what I mean?
yeah, but you know what though? I think his in a really early episode of our podcast, him and our other brother were arguing in favor of citizens owning AR-15s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because honestly, no, look, I'm the type of person that
Don't
think
get
that
brand
there
new
should be
'cause Kenya hair.
stronger- No, I do think there should be stronger gun laws as far as like the screenings and stuff like that too.
Okay, yes.
Like mental health screenings and things like that. But I do feel like, in case, like just like a libertarian, in case there's some type of government trying to come into our house, like martial law type thing. Those are the type of guns as citizens we need to have. You can't
But you're
be
going
sitting
to
up here
die
trying to fight the government in the
anyway.
handgun. That's all I know.
But
I mean,
You're
if
not-
we
you come
were
out there and
if
try
we
to-
was to go to that extreme, then okay, but
But that's how the libertarians talk.
But hold on,
But
time
that's
out.
what they're
I
worried
mean,
about.
but I feel like that way of thinking is okay. I'm just gonna go down guns a blazing, but you're gonna go down if martial law happens and there's tanks running down your street and military
Yeah,
all
but
in here.
guess what?
You're going
If there-
to die
if there's
if
a-
you
but
act
look,
like that.
If there's a band of brothers and we all got our assault rifles, we're gonna make a dent. But
Listen.
if we
Let's
all
go
got our
down
PP
guns a
shooters-
blazing.
I do not want no one in the hood with an AR-15. And I know
Nobody.
they in the hood. I do
They in the
not
hood, boy,
want
this,
nobody to have that. Like, that's crazy. You don't need it. Like,
You
what
don't
do you
need it,
for?
but when you got government, they should just stop making them. I'll say that.
Yes,
but when there's
I
people on the
agree with
other
that.
side with them and we don't got them, then not. I don't
Yes.
like
But see,
that.
I
That
feel
makes
like,
me sleep.
but I feel like your stance is your talking about some sort of what if scenario that might happen versus what's happening now. Our kids getting shot up in schools is what's happening right now. So I don't want to base legislation on, well, what if martial law happens and then you make it?
Well,
no, there are literal children dying.
They're gonna get shot up regardless. Like that's how
People
I look at it.
in synagogues dying.
Until there's a law that's made, they're gonna get shot up regardless.
People in churches dying. People around the world dying right now. So I don't want to like talk about some imaginary scenario that
I look at it like a lot of these people
yet.
are either on some type of drugs that make them have some type of psychosis, or they stop taking the drug where they're suffering from depression and anxiety and real dark.
There might not even be drugs involved. It could be.
Well, I mean drugs like medication drugs.
It might not even be. There's people I know who definitely suffer from mental illness and just aren't on anything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There needs to be that type of testing and screening before you allow even a handgun. I feel like.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's where it needs to start. But the way I look at it, the only way that you're going to get these type of guns off the street, though, seriously, is if they stop manufacturing them. So I think what Colt did, big up with Colt, yeah, because they stopped selling them. So if the other companies can do that, then that would be big,
huge.
And at least they won't be manufacturing anymore. They still won't be off the street, but at least they won't be more coming in.
Right.
You know?
But I mean, when you're talking about contributions to campaigns and the National Rifle Association, this would be an argument in favor of Andrew Yang and his democracy dollars, right?
But the way I look at it is Andrew Yang, the bad thing about Andrew Yang is he don't get enough publicity.
He don't.
So his message is so millennial that it would actually, I think, work. But
you know what? Because I feel like, and when you talk about like voting blocks, I know for a long time, or voting demographics, they were talking about the majority of people who vote are typically older, but people who are older are usually afraid of change.
Yeah.
And Andrew Yang's ideas are so like
out there.
Yeah, they're kind of like radical considering where we're at now. But I wouldn't mind giving them a try.
But the thing that I hate about what
people
Andrew
be like,
Yang is
oh
doing,
no, we don't have enough money to pay for that, blah, blah, blah. But if you take the time to listen to him, he tells you, okay, this is how things are happening, and this is how we pay. He gives you a plan on how we want to pay for this stuff.
Is that Andrew Yang is cool, and if he get in the office, is cool, but he's going to be butting his head up against Congress that ain't going to pass any of the law, any of the things.
And that's a lot of the issue that President Obama had.
Exactly. So we all looking at him like, come on, do it. We voted for you, do it. Congress like, nah. Where you getting that money from, Andrew Yang? No.
And you know what? And he breaks things down so thoroughly. Even like for instance, I was thinking about the universal base income, and we talk about the coal miners being out of jobs and other groups in society being out of like manufacturing jobs due to automation and stuff like that. People losing jobs leads to depression, which leads to crime, drug use, and everything. So we know $1,000 a month is not going to pay the bills. But if you do that in conjunction with, he was talking about a reforestation program, because a lot of our, there was deforestation, and now we need more trees, especially to contribute to the conversation around climate change. If you have companies who are sending people around the world to replant trees, if you give these coal miners and people in these different fields first dibs on these jobs, it can probably give them a lot of hope, because let's face it, a lot of people who's coal miners are probably not going to learn to code and get into the IT tech computer field. So I feel like this is something that can be more so a trade that they might be willing to learn. It's something, I don't know. But I was watching the video, and that was the concern that I had. And basically later on in the video, he pretty much said that that's what they would like to do. Because my concern too was, what are you going to do for these people besides this?
Mm-hmm.
Because $1,000 a month is not going.
But it'll help.
Yeah.
I'll take $1,000 because you know when Obama came in, he had that stimulus and
Mm-hmm.
all types of stuff happening, and that was nice.
And Andrew Yang is quick to say, "Look, this is something that Martin Luther King Jr. proposed. This is not a new idea. I'm just,
Trying to
bring it home." Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
Anything else, guys?
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I enjoyed you guys today.
I enjoy being here.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.